This regular meeting of the Carrabelle City Commission is now in session. It's Thursday, June 1st, 2023, 6 p.m., and this meeting is being conducted in the Carrabelle City Hall chambers. We'll open with a prayer by Commissioner Millender, and then I will lead the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Let us pray, please. Heavenly Father, again, we come before you this evening thanking you for the many blessings that you have given us in our great city here. In particular tonight, I'd like to say thank you for the blessing of the wonderful staff, employees, volunteers, and others that drive the mechanism for the city of Carrabelle and keeps it in a good, positive direction. Another thing I want to be thankful for tonight is a recent approval for a grant that was approved that our city administrator will give more information on tonight, but thank you again for that grant that we were approved for. And again, we're here tonight to conduct business, and we ask for your wisdom and guidance as we proceed forward. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, welcome everyone. It's good to see you. Thank you for silencing your phones. I've said this to you so many times, but if you want to speak on an agenda item, you need to complete a speaker card, and as well if you wanted to speak under public comment on an item that's not on tonight's agenda. So we'll move forward and entertain the consent agenda, which has the May 4th, 2023 City Commission regular meeting minutes and the attorney's invoices for April. I hope everyone had an opportunity to view both of those documents, actually three. And do we want to entertain a motion?
I'll motion to approve.
All right. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. And that motion is by Commissioner Brown, second by Commissioner Walden. Is there any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, and that motion carries. And at this point, I just want to give everyone a heads up that the new business item number 3 and the old business item number 1 have been requested to be removed from the agenda, and so they are removed. And then we'll take public comment at this time, if anyone has something to speak on that is not on tonight's agenda. Okay, Ms. Kelly.
I'm sorry, I'm having knee troubles. My name is Mel Kelly. I live at 1306 Owens Avenue. First, thank you to the volunteers who placed and removed the Memorial Day flags at the 2 cemeteries, especially the 2 young men who I saw helping before my rollator walker got stuck in the sand. They are an amazing number of veterans in our cemeteries, and I hope you people can help next year. There were only a half a dozen people when I was there stuck in the sand helping. I asked to speak tonight on a parking and boat ramps usage and traffic card congestion concerns. I understand there are a number of boaters bragging publicly about not paying the launch fee at the city-owned boat ramps. I wonder why there is no enforcement officer on those sites on holiday weekends and perhaps regular Saturdays. I feel sure the fees collected could easily pay for enforcement officers as well as maintenance of the ramps. Are the boxes emptied nightly and tallied, and by whom? I wonder about police enforcement of parking here in Carrabelle. I received a complaint about single cars only being parked in the lot above the boat ramp beyond the Marine Street Pavilion. If those parking spots are specifically marked for vehicles with trailers only, does the police department monitor those spots for what would be the illegal, seemingly, parking of a single car? I wish there were signs at our boat ramps identifying locations of overflow parking. And would the city make arrangements with owners of adjacent vacant lots to be used for overflow parking? I am no longer aware of the proper procedure for the sale of a sticker, but since City Hall's closed on the weekend, can an enforcement officer sell a parking sticker? And then can that officer police the parking area around the ramp in a slow time to make sure stickers are present? In addition, boaters are using a private business nearby to cash their large bills to get the $10 launch fee on Saturday morning. Could arrangements be made for a handheld credit card reader option offered by the enforcement officer instead? I owned a successful restaurant for 20 years, and it was very difficult when the first customers at opening wanted to cash a $100 bill. No matter how much extra change money a business tries to keep on hand, I think it's very inappropriate for a private business to be asked to cash a large bill to enforce the city's boat ramp. Some of you may know that the St. George Island Park was named the #1 best beach in the country. Thanks to Mayor La Paz's notification, you could also read that Carrabelle was named in the World Atlas magazine as one of the 11 most underrated towns on the Gulf Coast. What will happen on our crowded streets and roads when snapper season starts this year? Traffic is already becoming hazardous, and I fear with our new fame, it will get even more challenging. I encourage you to think about further law enforcement foot on the streets on Saturday and holidays, just walking the beat from Sea Quarters to the junction past the pavilion several times a day. That officer could show people we care about our city, and parking tickets could be written as needed to help pay for that presence. Also wanted to call your attention to the sheriff's electronic signs being used east and west of the Lanark Boat Club entrance. The signs remind that there is to be no parking on the State Highway 98 right-of-way. Shouldn't that be true for Carrabelle as well? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Kelly. Since we did have a heads up that you were going to be speaking on some of these items, I reviewed it with Ms. Courtney, our city administrator, and we do have some answers, and I think maybe a commissioner or two might want to speak to some of the things that you said as well. I'm not sure. We haven't had an opportunity to review.
Thank you, and I'm a little out of touch with how things are done, so I apologize
Okay.
if I stepped on somebody's toes.
Okay, everything's good. So actually, we have a large sign right back here that we just picked up, staff picked up today from Sign Design. And it actually has a map, a Google Earth map on it of where our overflow parking is. And this is a 4x8 sign, and that sign's going to be posted at the Marine Street boat ramp area.
Thank you. I love being ahead of the game.
Okay. And we just got it. I mean, it's been in the works. The TDC funded it, and it addresses small cars should not park in the long parking spaces for the trailers, and where to pick your, put your boat ramp fee, where to get an application or a permit. It addresses several items. And then Courtney, I believe you have a picture to show of the conceptual for the overflow parking lot that we're developing. And in fact, right now on Russell's report, he reports that we're in the point right now with the overflow parking of design and permitting, and you're preparing the permit application now for Water Management District? Yes. Okay. And so this, Courtney, would you tell them about this overflow parking?
This is overflow parking. It'll be on Avenue C. There's already some parking down on this end, and then it's the old water plant building. This will have parking for boats and trailers, and then also some smaller spots for regular size vehicles.
Mm-hmm. And as far as, we have an attendant on the weekends?
We do have an attendant. Now, it's not an enforcement. The attendant strictly puts out notices on the vehicles that have not paid. If she comes around and they don't have a tag hanging or they don't have a sticker in the window, then she puts an envelope on those windows. She's not an enforcement officer. She's not to approach the people or tell them you're not supposed to be parking there. That would be more like a law enforcement issue.
And this attendant patrols both ramps?
The 4th Street and the Marine Street, as well as does all the restrooms.
And the attendant knows that they have the opportunity to call one of our on-duty law
Yes, if she has an
enforcement
issue,
officers
she
at
can
any
call a
time.
police officer to come down.
All of our attendants that we've had over the years have been able to do that?
Yes.
Okay. So, and then we also have plans where Courtney's getting quotes right now to restripe that Marine Street parking lot with black striping as our engineer has recommended, so that the drivers can see, you know, what's the long parking spaces for the truck trailer unit and where are the small. There's really only 3 small spaces for small cars there on that triangle lot. But I wanted to ask Mr. Hartman and Ms. Courtney about on-street parking or right-of-way parking. Is that allowed in the city?
We have it throughout the city. You go up Highway 67 and they're parked on the sides, on the right-of-ways, all through the city limits.
A lot of residents use the right-of-way for their driveway parking.
Now, they
actually.
can't be hanging out into the roadways, obstructing the roadways or blocking driveways, but as long as they're off of the roads.
So I don't know if if they, you know, the city allows right-of-way parking, I don't know if we can ticket for trucks, trailers parking on the right-of-way. Mr. Hartman says no.
No, if we don't, if there, for some reason there's a safety concern or some other use is being made of right-of-way that's clear for parking, then we need to put signage up telling people not to use it, then we can ticket. But if it's open right-of-way, just, and again, outside of the travel lane, people can park there. It's just like you park in front of your house on a city street.
Mr. Attorney, one thing that I see to address and to use as a point, as Ms. Kelly expressed, 98 is considered a high-speed highway. Our streets are not. Our city streets are like 35, 30 miles an hour. Now, that particular area that she's talking about is on DOT right-of-way in Lanark Village. That is in a 45-mile-an-hour speed zone, but it's a high-traffic area, and it's considered a high-speed highway. A little bit different than our city streets.
Agreed, yeah.
Courtney, when are the fee boxes emptied?
We do it about 3 times a week.
Okay.
We do it twice during the week and then always on Mondays after, or Tuesday after a holiday weekend, but after
Okay.
the weekends. And that is done by staff, and there has to be 2 of us that go and empty the boxes. So we have a check and balance there.
And then, I don't know, you know, about a credit card reader or anything. I don't know if we would do that. I'm not sure if we could do it or at this point.
You
Who
could
would do
always
it?
do an automated system, but we've
Well,
looked
we
at
have thought
those.
about
We
that,
have
an
looked at those.
automated system, but that doesn't mean that everybody's going to be on the honor system. And those credit card systems we have looked at, and they're very expensive.
And there's fees and.
Yeah. And then I'm thinking about doing another sign like this at the, and in fact, I designed that sign and got the TDC to pay for it, and I'm going to see if I can get a smaller sign for the boat ramp, the 4th Street boat ramp, and on that one, we can put, "Do not bother the nearby businesses." I wouldn't word it like that. And remind them that there's an ATM across the street there at the Centennial Bank where they can get change if they need to do that, something like that. But we know that, all of us know there's a parking issue. We just don't have enough parking, and
Exactly.
we're trying to do the best we can with what we have to work with at this time.
Thank you for considering the issues I
And-
raised. I appreciate the answers.
And I know
You're
that
welcome.
probably other commissioners have done the same thing. I have did a little well, not research, but I've had some conversation with adjoining counties and adjoining cities that have a parking issue and how they handle their fee systems, et cetera. Most every one of them, well, I didn't find any of them that were using a card system. They didn't find it practical or cost-effective. They are all still relying on the honor system and coming in, reading the signs, coming in here and buying your annual passes and the honor system on paying. Wakulla County just installed some big signs at Mashie Sands and all of their boat ramps within Wakulla County that's very similar to ours right there. And they're still on the honor system as well.
We have noticed when we didn't have an attendant down there that our fees dropped.
Yeah.
But even if they don't pay and they come in and they have that envelope on their windshield, they know that they've been watched, and most of them will go pay it when they
do.
come back. There's always going to be some that don't pay it, but most of them will.
And brag about it, that's what concerned me.
And true, so true, Ms. Mel. It's not a perfect system, but the other side of it too is if our attendant knows of someone that's in violation and we've had that repeat violation, our officers can cite them.
Okay, all right.
Had a question in the back.
Yes,
Oh, well, that, I think you just answered my question, because I was gonna ask, I know we're on the honor system, but if there is someone there parked without paying, can't we just cite them? Can an officer swing by 2 or 3 times on a Saturday or Sunday and just kinda look, and someone's not paid, give them a ticket?
I would ask the chief happens to be in the room, and I do know that our police officers cruise the entire city, including the boat ramp area, daily, several times a day, but I don't know about just ticketing, chief. And thank you for being here this evening.
Is this?
It's ready.
Okay, so, yes, ma'am, we do have officers that patrol on the weekends, and sometimes during the mornings, when they see that the parking lots are starting to fill up, they will actually stay in that area and try to redirect the people to the overflow parking lot that, a lot aren't aware of. But as far as enforcing it, we can enforce the city ordinances, we sure can. And that's something that we could possibly do when we have time, and we can have them go by and check that. But as far as a uniform traffic citation, we can't issue those without the person being present. But I believe with the city ordinance, we can put it on the windshield.
Yeah, but if someone is parked illegally and they've left their vehicle, you can leave, ticket them for parking illegally if they're not there.
Not a Florida traffic uniform citation. We have to give it to the individual. We can't leave it on the windshield of a vehicle.
So I can just park anywhere and you can't do anything?
Unless you're there.
Yeah.
Because, okay, so what if your relative borrows your car and parks it illegally? We run the license plate on your car and we fill out the citation to you. But you didn't park that car
If you've
illegally.
given them the car, you've assumed the responsibility of the risk of something.
Doesn't work that way.
And once the vehicle has stayed there too long, so many days, you put a tag on the red tag the vehicle, and if they don't move it within so many days, then it's towed. That kind of thing, if it's illegally parked. Yes, Ms. Keisha.
And also, I just want to point out that the sticker, or the fee is not for the parking, it's for the use of the ramp.
The boat
Exactly.
ramp. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a parking fee, it's a boat ramp fee.
Yes. All right, then, we're going to move on to another, our next. Okay, Ms. Daleen, would you come forward then?
I just have as you know, we own the upholstery shop, and we love,
Okay, tell us your name.
Daylene Siegert,
Okay.
and we love watching people go down our street with their boats. It is fun for us. And I would hate to have the reputation for the city of, okay, now, if you didn't do it quite right, we're gonna ticket you. What about giving warnings? I didn't hear anybody say anything about, so if the officers had some sort of tag that said, hey, you know, you are out of compliance, just wanna let you know. So, because we're such a friendly city, I'm just thinking, what about doing some sort of warning instead of going right to a ticket?
Okay, all right.
And
Okay.
that's basically what we're doing. The attendant is putting an envelope on their windshield that says that you didn't pay.
Right, and warning them that they didn't pay. Okay.
Could I make one comment?
Yes, go ahead.
I'd like for the public to know something that I have physically witnessed with our law enforcement, and you're gonna say I'm defending them, and I am. I've actually been there on Saturday mornings when actually a couple of our law enforcement officers at different occasions encountered customers, if you will, I'll call them customers, that were launching, that were gonna refuse an officer to pay their launching fee. And our officer actually handled that appropriately on both cases. They gave them a choice of either being cited, paying their launching fee, and one of them even threatened to get in his boat and leave, and he said, sir, if you do, your vehicle's gonna be towed. That's gonna cost you a lot more than a launching fee. So our officers are doing their job, but they do encounter some folks down there that are not nice at all. So.
Okay, all right. Let's move on to another item, as being that this was public comment, and we're only supposed to spend 3 minutes, but I did feel like we needed to address some of these issues for the public. So is there any other public comment on another topic? All right, then we'll move on to the commissioners' reports, and Commissioner Walden. I have nothing. Okay, Commissioner Brown?
Just one thing. Tomorrow is the second First Friday. Downtown Carrabelle businesses are hosting and staying open late for food, art, music, and shopping. So we'll be hosting that from 5 to 8 p.m. So come down and see what it's all about.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, and Commissioner Melander?
No, ma'am, I've said enough.
Okay, and Commissioner Gray is not with us this evening, and I haven't said enough, so I'll give a report. The new golf cart, House Bill 949, signed by the Governor DeSantis, will go into effect on July the 1st. And under the bill, golf cart drivers now must be age 18 or 15 with a learner's license, learner's permit, or 16 with a driver's license. So drivers under age 18 must be at least 15 with a learner's permit or 16 with a driver's license. So with this new bill, Florida teens will not be able to drive golf carts without proper identification. And also anyone who's 18 or older must have a valid government ID issued ID to drive a golf cart. Violations, of course, will be non-criminal traffic infractions like a moving violation. And in addition to that, there's several Florida statutes regarding graduated driver's licensing laws that include supervised and nighttime driving restrictions for ages 15 through 17. And I gave the attorney a copy of that, and Ms. Keisha. It has all the different laws and restrictions with the statute numbers there. So we need to review all of this so that we can start working on amending the city's golf cart ordinance. But until that happens, the new Florida law will supersede the city's ordinance after July the 1st. And then Courtney and I attended the first annual SUNS meeting on April 15th. SUNS, S-U-N-S, is the acronym for Scaling Up Nature-Based Solutions. The program was developed and implemented after Hurricane Michael hit, and it was developed by the Nature Conservancy, the U.S. Naval Academy, the Northwest Florida Water Management District, and the St. Andrews and St. Joseph Bay Estuary Program, along with 27 representatives from local governments that were impacted by Hurricane Michael. And they have developed a portfolio of 72 nature-based solution projects, 11 plans and assessments, and 5 parks and trails connector projects. The exciting thing that Courtney and I learned at the meeting is that the Sun's executive director announced they have enough funding remaining for approximately 6 additional projects. And the proposal from Carrabelle for a public use stormwater park connected to the city's Northwest 1st Street and Northwest Avenue B stormwater management system will be considered as an additional project for technical and financial support. And Courtney has spoken with the property owner who's interested in selling the property for development of a stormwater park, but there's still some negotiations to follow. Mr. Darrell Boudreau with the Water Management District is our Sun's liaison, and he'll keep us updated. And finally, property owners along the most northern block of Northwest 1st Street, which dead ends into Northwest Avenue G, have contacted me requesting that this intersection be developed into a standard 90-degree corner. The roadway has always been just a sand trail through the woods, but over the past couple of years, there's been a lot of development with new homes in the area, and there's a dog. I thought it was running free, but it's not. It's on a long leash. So right now, they have the county has put lime rock on this sand trail that kind of curves, but it cuts. It's a makeshift roadway, and it cuts right into someone's property. Their corner survey marker is in the road that's being used right now. The city has a survey of Northwest Avenue G. We've got the developer's survey of the Northwest 1st Street when they platted the property that they were developing out there. And I've reached out to County District 5 requesting assistance to share with the cost of developing a standard 90-degree corner there that would merge these two roadways and get 4th Street off private property. And so the commissioner's going to come out next week with the county roads department superintendent and meet with Dustin. I might meet with them as well, and I'll keep y'all posted. I know y'all know where I'm talking about out there, so we'll see if we can get that straightened up without too much cost to the city. And I've got a copy of these graduated driver's license. If anyone wants it, you're welcome to have it, and we will move to the attorney's reports.
I have none.
You have none? Okay. Thank you very much. Then we'll move to the city administrator, Ms. Courtney.
Did everyone receive their department reports? Any questions? As Commissioner Melander mentioned earlier, the city was awarded a state hurricane loss mitigation program grant for the fiscal year 23-24 in the amount of $194,000. And we can get started on that as soon as all the paperwork is signed. We've already signed our side of it, so we're just waiting to get that back from the state. We got this sign. You see the sign for the Marine Street Boat Ramp informational signage. We got one a little bit smaller, but very similar to that for McKissick Beach. Not sure if Dustin has picked it up. I'm not sure if he's got it. Did he get it installed? It is installed. Both of those were funded through the Tourist Development Council. If you guys have noticed that there's a new roof on the old water plant building. We've got quotes for windows and doors. The windows and doors came in high, so we're going to step back and take a look at that and see what we can do to maybe bring the cost down. I'd like to do the windows and the doors and the painting, so at least the outside of the building's all done. And then maybe we come back next year and start budgeting to do the inside of the building. The clean out of the stormwater drainage from Highway 67 to Gray Avenue has been completed. We cost shared that with Franklin County. We voted for it last month, and that has been done. And then we do need to ratify the direction to advertise for a new police officer. We did that earlier during the month, and so we'll need a vote to ratify for that.
And so we advertised for a police officer, and actually we have that on the agenda item, but we all agreed to allow that to happen, and we need to ratify that decision now.
Yes.
And would someone like to make a motion for that?
I'll motion to ratify that process.
I'll
Okay.
second.
All right, and we have that motion, Ms. Keisha, by Commissioner Melander, second by Commissioner Brown. Is there any further discussion on that? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any, those opposed? Okay, and that carries. All right. Anything else? Do you all have questions or comments for Ms. Courtney? All right, thank you very much. Ms. Keisha, our city clerk.
All right, I've got some dates for everybody here. June the 6th at 11 a.m., we will be having a groundbreaking ceremony for the new military flagpoles that are being installed at Veterans Park. So mark your calendar for that. Excuse me. June 15th at 2 o'clock is our planning and zoning meeting. It's tentative as of now. I don't have anything, but it could change. June 20th at 1:30 is our CRA meeting. The city's 4th of July celebration will be Sunday, July 2nd at dark 30. This year, they are going to be shooting it from a barge in the middle of the river, pretty much right around, we'll be closing the 4th Street boat ramp this year. So it'll be more expansive. You'll be able to see it a lot better along the river there, so that's exciting. City Hall will be closed Tuesday, July 4th, and our next, excuse me, next City Commission meeting is on July 6th at 6 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Do you all have anything for Ms. Keisha? Comments, questions? All right. Thank you very much. And we will move on to Anovia's report. Mr. Russell Large.
Thank you. On our lighthouse septic to sewer project and water expansion, both the water main and the sewer mains have been placed in the service, so they're active right now. The contractor has been making individual connections for individual residents out there, making those connections, and those accounts have been becoming active water and sewer accounts. We do have, you may remember, we had some additional requests to connect, and we worked with DEP and the Water Management District to develop a change order, and that has taken some time to work its way through DEP. But I'm told that there could be some possible action on that by June the 12th. So we'll be following up with them, and we're anxiously awaiting that approval so we can move forward with those additional connections. All right, on the Marine Street project, the bids were extended due to requests from multiple bidders. They just needed some more time. So that bid is now due tomorrow, June the 2nd at 2 p.m. here at City Hall. On the summer camp water and sewer discussion, I spoke with Bridget Precise, and she had some questions which I answered. And she has some more detailed questions she'd like to ask, and she'll be reaching out to us to schedule a meeting with the committee to get together and look at some more details on the agreement language. So that is moving forward. Incidentally, I did speak with the Water Management District about that project as well, and just let them know where we were in the discussions with St. Joe. The Carrabelle Cemetery expansion, I did provide that task work order, so that's submitted for your review and approval. Ryan Drive and the Avenue C overflow boat parking, those permit applications are being prepared. Courtney, so I'll be sending that to you for some signatures. The golf cart crossing permit was submitted in the DOT permit portal, so we're expecting approval on that soon. And the new water supply well, we have scheduled a pre-application meeting with DEP to begin discussions on that project.
Okay. All right. So first, do we have, we need to vote on this task order or proposal for engineering services for the Evergreen Cemetery expansion. So since I've just said it, we'll just go ahead and do that. Has everyone had an opportunity to read that task order? You see what is included and the amount, and that, I just want to make sure I did read it, but that does include the design of the plots.
Yes.
Okay.
And the monumentation.
Okay, and
That
some,
was emailed out back
To-
about a week or so ago.
and any little roadways that have to be
Right.
inside?
Right.
Okay, all right. And did everyone have an opportunity to review that task order proposal?
Yes, ma'am. I
Go
did.
ahead.
I think the way, Russell, correct me if I'm wrong, the way I see it, that pretty much includes everything with exception of the land clearing.
That's about right.
About
Yes.
right?
That is right.
Okay.
That is right.
I'll make a motion to approve the task order.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right. Okay, so Ms. Keisha, that motion is by Commissioner Millender, second by Commissioner Brown to approve the task order or proposal for engineering services for the Evergreen Cemetery expansion. Is there any other discussion? Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, and that motion carries. Thank you. Mr. Russell, I have a couple of questions. I know you probably have heard this. I just have to say it for public record, and Courtney certainly has heard it on the repair of the roadways, and the District 5 Commissioner contacted me, who's concerned that out there at Lighthouse Estates, you know, where the cuts have been made across the roads, that she's concerned that she's going to have to pave Lighthouse Road and maybe Beacon or something. So I'm just hoping that I don't know if you can control it or not, the asphalt company that's hired or subcontracted, they do a good job, and we have a good smooth transition, you know, from where they do the patch.
Where the patches were made?
Yes.
Yes, we'll keep a close eye on that.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you very much,
Yes.
because if it's not, we know that can make potholes and,
Right,
okay, all right, thank you very much.
right.
And then thank you also for contacting the Water Management District on the summer camp utility takeover process. I hope they'll be wanting to work with us on that.
That sounds more
Mhm.
favorable.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll move on then to advisory boards and the Carrabelle Waterfront Partnership, which we have received your report. Do you have anything, Ms. Tamara, anything in particular that you need to mention to us?
If we could just mention that little notice that I handed out.
Oh, the notice here.
If I could, just read my mention.
Okay, thank you. She's going to read it. Thanks, I appreciate it. I already filed it away.
Okay. Well, let me read this and then I'll give it to you. I had a phone call this afternoon from the State Historic Preservation Officers staff, who told me that they're holding a public meeting at the Carrabelle branch of the Franklin County Library to discuss the proposed historical district of the Carrabelle Town Center. That's the historical business district of downtown. It's the same information that they came to present to the commissioners a few weeks back. And, but the meeting has been scheduled for Friday, June the 22nd, from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the library. And we'd really like to encourage all the property owners of the affected properties, along with any other interested parties, to please come to the meeting, find out about it. And then that meeting will be in anticipation for the August 4th statewide review of the National Review Board for the state of Florida to decide whether or not that our district will become a historical district. So it's not a local process, it's a statewide process that is done on behalf of the National Register for Historic Places. So if anybody has any questions about that or needs to look at the map or anything, if you'll get with me or send me a note, I'll be glad to send it to you.
Okay.
But that was the only, otherwise it's just, we're one step forward with the elevator and another step
Yeah,
forward
and you've
with
got your
elevator.
coastal cleanup on Saturday, September the 16th.
And we would hope everyone would come out and help us clean up.
Okay, I wanted to ask, all of the property owners that are in the designated proposed downtown historic district, are they going to be notified individually? Are they going to receive letters of notification?
Yes, from the state.
Okay, very
But
good.
I thought, I want to be very tactful. My experience with the state is they're always just about a week late in doing stuff. And so one of the reasons I pursued this was because we need to know, we don't need to wait till a day before the meeting to let people know. So we nailed down the date and the hours and so forth for them today.
Okay.
So they will do that. So if I could get an address for all the property owners, then I will send them a notice from me, which is, of course, it's no formal notice, but they will get a formal notice from the state.
The property appraiser's office might be able to give you some addresses.
Well, I spent a couple hours on her website today getting addresses, but I was
But
surprised.
they might be able to give a list that's,
Like I wouldn't
quick.
have to do it one by one.
Yeah,
There's
maybe.
an idea. Okay, but that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to just keep people from not knowing about it and finding out about it like the day before and not being able to come.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. All right, then we have the Carrabelle Aviation Advisory Board, and we also received that report, a written report. Do you have anything in particular, Mr. Tim, that you need to report on? And so we've got that written report, and we can review that. And all of these written reports are available through Ms. Keisha's office if anyone wants to see these. I see Mr. Steve Allen is here from the Cricket River Lighthouse Association, and he did not submit a written report. Do you have anything to say, sir, at this time?
Not really, but we
Okay.
do have a country market and a full moon climb this Saturday, so y'all come over and enjoy it. That's it.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
And then you can see the boat progress, which is awesome.
Okay, thank you. All right, then we'll move on to public hearing, and there is no public hearing this evening, so we'll move into our quasi-judicial hearing, and I will call that into session at this time. And we have item 1 under that portion of the meeting. It's discussion and possible action concerning the final plat for Viewpoint of Lake McKissick Phase 3, and this is requested by email Siska. And of course, I will ask Ms. Keisha and Mr. Dan what the Planning and Zoning Board recommended, and I want to also call to everyone's attention. I know you, well, I got it anyway, a nice review and recommendation from Russell with Inovia regarding this project at Lake McKissick, their Phase 3. And we also have a plat here that we've reviewed there it is right there. So, Ms. Keisha, what did the Planning and Zoning recommend?
They voted unanimously to approve with Russell's conditions.
Okay. And do y'all, Mr. Russell or Mr. Hartman, do you have any other input on that?
The way this would work is the conditions that are precedent to execution of the plat or really recording of the plat, they'll have to demonstrate compliance with those conditions, for instance, permitting or the existence of the stormwater infrastructure. But they'll demonstrate compliance with those, verified by Russell, and then And then with the approval tonight would be that at some point when Russell notifies you administratively that, hey, these conditions been met, then I believe it has spots on there for the mayor's signature, my signature, that sort of thing, and then it can be recorded. But even if we, for instance, sign it, we don't record it until those conditions are met, because
So
that's
we-
when it's effective.
We would want to approve with the conditions outlined in the engineer's report and with receipt of the approved permits.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Do we have discussion?
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve as stated with the conditions that were suggested or recommended, if you will, by our engineer.
Okay, and with receipt of the approved permits.
Correct.
And I'll second that. And so that motion is by Commissioner Millender, second by Mayor LaPaz. Is there any further discussion? All right, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. And I want to thank the Planning and Zoning Board for working on this item, and we certainly appreciate all of their volunteer work and the hours they put in studying these things. And so I will adjourn the quasi-judicial hearing and reconvene our regular commission meeting at this time. And we'll move on to new business. And this is item 1 under new business is discussion and possible action regarding hiring a police officer. And we have, once again, Chief Robbie Hogan is here. If he'll come up and tell us about, I know some interviews were done, and if you'll tell us about your recommendation.
All right, so we currently have a opening at the police department due to the recent resignation of Officer Jacob Reedman. He is currently went to the Franklin County Sheriff's Office within the past 3 weeks. So after advertising, we received 2 applicants. One was from a Gage Chance, and the second applicant was Donnie Raffield. So after reviewing the applications, it was determined that Mr. Chance had allowed his certification to lapse. So he's no longer certified. So Mr. Raffield, he's worked mostly with the Department of Corrections. I think he began around 2013, and he crossed over recently and went through the law enforcement training and is currently a deputy at the Franklin County Sheriff's Office. He's worked there for about a year and a half. But my recommendation would be to go ahead and hire Deputy Raffield.
All right. And is Mr. Raffield in here this evening?
Unfortunately, I received a call this morning, and he's had a family emergency in Miami.
Oh, geez.
So he was on the road when he called, and we spoke, and you know, he apologized for not being able to make it, but unfortunately, he's not present.
Okay. And we had, his application was on the city administrator's desk, and I know I had an opportunity to review it. Did everyone that wanted to look at it review it?
I did, and I had a long discussion with the chief about it, so I'm gonna make a motion to accept the chief's recommendation.
Okay. And I also had an opportunity to discuss with the chief. And do we have a second then for this?
I'll second.
Okay. So we, Ms. Keisha, we have a motion by Commissioner Millender, second by Commissioner Brown to hire Mr. Donnie Raffield. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Thank you. Thank you very much. We appreciate your service. I see we have two officers in here as well, and thank you both for your service, and thank you, Chief. All right, then item 2 under new business is discussion and possible action concerning the sidewalk encroachment agreement with Harry's Bar for outside dining. And Ms. Courtney, could you tell us how this came about to be on here?
This is on here because we had an agreement, an encroachment agreement. We did it for 10 months, and it is time to look at it again.
Okay. And I did, I had a copy at home, so the current one that we have. And the agreement was for 10 months. I think I understand while you all were doing construction, and I don't know if that's completed or not. But are you wanting to do a renewal of that? If one of you would come forward, that would, sorry. And just tell us your name, although we know you.
All right, Kimberly Wallace. I
Okay.
represent Harry's Bar and Mr. Henry Vara.
Yes.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you for the approval for the 10 months.
Mhm.
It has been very accommodating, and it's working very, very well for us. So.
Okay.
But yes, we would like an extension. For obvious reasons, we are at our, I don't even know if I could say halfway point for the renovations. The accounts, of course, have taken a pretty good impact, so we've had to kind of slow things down to reacquire funding, our own funds to complete the process. We do have a very, very wide, I think it's almost 6 foot of accessible sidewalk for anyone in wheelchairs and or just walking along the sidewalk. The barricaded structure to the right of the tables has corralled people and vehicles more safely than it ever did prior. People really enjoy it. We would really love to be extended because at this point, we are kind of up in the air as to when we will start major renovation again.
Okay. I'm going to review real quick, just for the public record, that we approved this for the first 10 months with this agreement that said that we had no objection at that time to deny the request, and that it applies to all the owners, successors, and assigns, and that there's a clause in here to hold the city harmless, and that the applicant needs to maintain liability insurance in the amount of $500,000, and reflecting that the city is also insured, and that you maintain any utilities and the underlying encroachment there. And then it was for a period of 10 months, and that you keep a 4-foot wide sidewalk free and clear. And the agreement could be terminated at the sole discretion of the city upon determination by the Carrabelle police chief that the encroachment permit is causing risk to public health, safety, and welfare. And so upon termination of the agreement would cease and the encroachment would be removed. So I've driven by. I'm just going to go ahead and speak, and then y'all go ahead. But I've been by every day, probably, maybe several times a day. But I don't go late at night, and I've been over there in the evenings. I haven't seen a problem. I personally have not seen an issue, but I'm not there late at night. The sidewalk, as far as I've seen, has always been kept clear. Now, I thought that it was for dining, and I thought that the outside use was to stop when your kitchen closed. But I don't know if it did or doesn't or whatever, because I'm not there that late at night. I think your kitchen closes at 10 or 11.
11 p.m., yes.
So I'm just giving my input at this point. Now, if the other commissioners have something they'd like to say.
If they order food at 10:59, the chances are they're still going to be out there for another 45 minutes.
Yes,
eating.
till midnight even.
Yes.
I mean, I do live across the street. I walk my dogs past there multiple times a day. And honestly, since this barricade has gone up, less people have been out in the street. The cars are parked how they're supposed to be. And it's been less of a hazard for that street since this has been completed. So I'm all for it.
Any comment?
I do, but I was
Okay.
waiting on the Mr. Commissioner down there.
I don't have a problem with it, as long as the public don't have a problem with it. It's for dining only, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
And you can, some of the photos that I sent to Courtney today was after I was given that we were gonna be placed on the agenda, and it was roughly 11:30 in the morning. And as you can see, the people that are sitting there waiting on their food. So if you see people that are sitting there that necessarily don't have food in front of them, that doesn't mean they haven't ordered their food,
Yeah, we understand.
you know? So these young adults here have bottled water, pink lemonade, and an iced tea, you know? So it's, you know, we're doing a very good job of policing it. Granted, when it's busy, such as a holiday weekend, you know, we're not gonna catch every single person that may say go out and have a beer on there while they're having their food. But we do a very good job of policing it and keeping it clean and within city and, non-criminal activity, if you will, you know? I mean, no one's really gotten arrested, and
Yeah.
we're doing very, very diligent work to keep it a fun, friendly, healthy atmosphere.
I know Commissioner Millender wants to speak. We do have 3 police officers here that have worked the beat there, and if they had seen anything, we would know about it, so.
And I'm not going to repeat everything that these others have said, because I agree. In my observation of it, it's worked out well.
Thank you.
And I like to see things happen in a positive manner throughout our city, and it seems to have worked out well. And with that, not laboring everything, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion that we extend the agreement, the current agreement as it says, for 12 months.
Thank you, sir.
And I'll
Okay.
second that.
Right. Now, I wanted to, we're in discussion now. We have that motion by Commissioner Millender, second by Commissioner Brown. And yes, I did want to recommend that we renewed it for an annual, and so we may end up changing our motion a little bit, but for 12 months, an annual review again in 12 months.
Thank you.
But I would like to address the hours of use. I would like to see that written into the agreement, that it's during food service hours only. And of course, we understand, and the officers would too, if they order their meal a minute before the kitchen closes, it's going to take them 45 minutes to an hour to get their food and eat. So we do understand that. And I also, if that's all right, if I can ask for that to be included in the agreement. Because we know we've got someone else, another business building an awning, and they're most likely going to want to do the same, and we want to make sure that we do this right. And I don't see anything wrong with renewing it on an annual basis.
Thank you.
And I don't mind amending the motion, because from what I heard from Ms. Wallace, that she pretty much defined what you're requesting to be put in there. And that's define what the activities are on the space. And I would like to, as again, I made the motion to renew it for 12 months, and I like the option of the city being able to come to you guys and cancel if we got a problem.
Absolutely.
That is a public sidewalk, and everything seems to be working fine, as I stated. But if we have a hiccup, we have an option there.
Okay, so now we're in discussion. Do we have any comments? Because the Harry's Bar will be using the public sidewalk. Do we have any comments regarding that from the public? Any comments from the public? Okay, if you'd come forward, sir. Well, you raised your hand. Well, I know you would, but we're not going to do it.
My name is Ken Siegert. I'm
Okay.
the husband of Daleen, who you know so well. I just wanted to say I walk my dogs like you down through there, and I've never had a problem with the area. There's never been any issues. It's always open, it's always clear, and I think it's a great idea to have the seating out there. And I would
Okay.
hate to see it go away.
All right. Thank you very much. Any other comments from the public? Any comments from the police department members? All right. Oh, the chief's going to come up and speak again.
I'd just like to say that I concur with Ms. Wallace. So far, we haven't had any issues, to my knowledge, there at the bar. in regards to the sidewalk, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your comments, and maybe we can get on a roll where this is just renewed annually. All right? Okay, then do we want to, are we ready for a vote, or is there any more discussion? All right, those in favor to renew this sidewalk encroachment agreement with some additional wording that includes the hours or during food service the food service
I have a
hours.
question.
Okay.
For the food service hours, since if people do order, say 10:59, should we make it an hour past?
What I'll say is
closes?
food service and consumption.
Okay.
The attorney always has the right words.
I assumed that's the way it was gonna be.
Can they take it to go? Okay. All right. Okay, so food service and consumption. All right, so those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries, and congratulations. Okay. And that was Millender and Brown, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. And that's it. The item 3 under new business has been removed, and item 1 under old business has been removed. So that's it for us this evening. Thank you very much. We got a lot of work done and accomplished in just over 1 hour, and so we're adjourned.